Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a relatively nice mask, which is pretty common, to be honest. And quite honestly, I think most people, when they find it, they don't usually keep it. And it's not because it's a bad mask, it's just simply because I think it just drops way too often for its own good. And that is called Blackhorn's Face. I always call it Black Thorns. I don't know why I always call it Black Thorns. I was literally about to say black thorns, and I was literally reading it off, and I'm like, that says black horns, not black thorns. And, yeah. So Blackhorn's Face is a death mask. It can be upgraded one time if you were interested in doing so. You would need a lem and a co-rune, but you probably aren't going to spend a lem and a co-rune to upgrade it. But you know what? We'll go ahead and we're going to do it anyway, because, you know, it is something that I like to do with these videos, is if I can upgrade it, I usually do. But let's go over the item first before we go through all that. So Blackthorn's Face Death Mask is a 278 defense helmet. It is 419 in its ethereal form. It has a strength requirement of 55, which is extremely low, and is usually something that most characters can equip. It has a level requirement of 41, which is also very low, and usually means that you can utilize this very, very early on in the game. It has some very nice effects. It has Prevent Monster Heal, which is very, very nice. Prevent Monster Heal will completely stop any monster's regeneration for 20 minutes, with only a few exceptions, which is basically the Ubers. Uber Diablo, Uber Bale, Uber Mephisto, Pandemonium Diablo, and I do believe Lilith, Uber Duriel, and Uber Iswal. You can cease their regeneration with open wounds, by the way. Prevent Monster Heal also does not work on mercenaries, so keep that in mind before you choose this as an item to utilize on a particular character. We also have slows target by 20%, which is absolutely great effect. It will slow down all monsters' run speed, walk speed, and their attack speed, not their casting rate, by 20%, and it does stack up to 80%, but not directly on top of each other. So if you are utilizing, for instance, Holy Freeze, which has 50% slow, and they are already slowed by 50%. It's not going to add 20 to 50. You're not just going to go to 50, 60, 70. Instead, how it's going to work is, you know, let's pretend that there was a mythical sort of like all-encompassing number as far as speed is concerned. And let's say we have 100 as our maximum speed. Holy Freeze would reduce that by 50%, which would bring us down to 50. And then the Blackthorn's Face would be subtracting 20% from 50, which would be 40. So it's not going to stack the way that you might think. There are many, many different items in the game and abilities that have slows targets effect on them. Holy Freeze, Decrepify, Clay Golem, many, many items in the game have the slows target effect on them. And just in general, I think you will find that slows target is absolutely a great ability to have for a melee or ranged character. It does not work on spells, so keep that in mind. We also have an enhanced defense on this from 180 to 220%, so a little bit of a variable there. We have a lightning resistance, which is being added, of 15%, which is definitely very nice to have. It could be higher than that, but 15% is something. We also have 20 lightning absorption on this, which is a really high amount of lightning absorb. And if you are unaware of how absorption works, basically, if a monster hits me for 100 lightning damage, I will absorb 20 of that lightning damage. So it will take 20 of that lightning damage away from the 100, and he will only be dishing out 80 to me. The 80 lightning damage will hit my HP bar and dish out 80 damage. Then, after I take 80 damage, I will heal for the exact same amount that the lightning absorb took away. So I will heal for an additional 20 HP. However, it is important to note that if you do not have 80 HP, you will die. The absorption does not take place before you take the damage. It takes place after you take the damage. So the absorption removes the 20, you take the damage, and then it heals you. This can sometimes be a detriment if you are in a situation where you're taking a really large amount of lightning damage. The absorption is not going to prevent your death, but it will heal you after you get hurt. So, you know, just keep that in mind if you're going up against gloams or something like that. That if they hit you hard enough, they can bypass the absorption. We also have attacker takes lightning damage of 25, which is absolutely useless at level 41. The majority of the monsters in the game have way more than 25 hit points at this particular time, plus the resistances, and it just generally does nothing. Now, of course, you can find this in the ethereal form, which is the 419 defense, but if you utilize this in the ethereal form, it's not going to be very useful to you because it's eventually going to break. You could put this on a mercenary, which wouldn't exactly be a terrible idea, but he's not going to get the prevent monster heal effect. He will get the lightning resistance and the lightning absorption, as well as the slows target effect, which is going to be very nice. And of course, you can socket this, and you could put something in here to make it a little bit better. Who could potentially utilize this? Well, the slows target and the prevent monster heal are very strictly melee and ranged abilities, so you probably would want to put this on a melee or ranged character. The slows target could be absolutely excellent in the hands of like a multi-shot boson or something like that. Could really help them out a ton. It also would stack with freezing arrow if you were freezing arrows on. Zeal Paladin could get good use out of it. A Whirlwind Barbarian. I mean, quite honestly, there's not a lot of characters that couldn't get good use out of a Blackhorn's face. The main issue with this is there are better options out there. There are options that have plus to skills. There's options that have lifesteal. There's options that have other effects that are better than this particular item. But a lot of the times when you find a Blackhorn's face, you usually end up keeping it for that lightning absorption. I've used it on many occasions when I was surrounded by gloams to prevent my death from gloams. And if you're wondering how you can prevent your death from gloams, the black souls, the lightning spamming monsters, what you have to do is you have to have 95% lightning resistance, which is obtainable, and lightning absorption. Usually if you have 95% lightning resistance and absorption, they can do absolutely nothing to you. You can get absorption in quite a few different ways. One of them is the Titans. Sorry, about to say Titans. One of them is the belt. The I can't remember the name of. All of a sudden, it is just right there on the tip of my tongue, and I've literally used it about 1,000 times. But good luck, brain, actually pulling up the name of it. Like the little hamster in the wheel up here. He's just ka-chunking along. He's just ka-chunking. T-Gods. T-Gods! That's the name of it. T-Gods. So T-Gods is another belt that you could get that potentially has lightning absorption on it. There's also a ring that has lightning absorption, which is called Wisp Projector. And you can actually stack all of them together and get even more lightning absorption. Maybe you're going up against a really evil lightning spamming sorceress in PvP, and you would just like to get as much lightning absorption as possible. Stack all three items. Why not? So what we're going to do next is we're going to upgrade this, and we're going to see how the defense and the stats upgrade. So like I said, we're going to need a Lem, a Co, and a Perfect Diamond, and I'm going to... Here we go. We're going to take a look at it. So 278 defense, 55 strength, level 41. Death Mask. To a Demon Head, 435 defense, 102 strength, level 62. Not a bad upgrade at all. To be honest with you, the strength requirement didn't go up high enough to be detrimental to pretty much any class unless you're a 0 strength build. And the level requirement really didn't go up so high to make it untenable. Definitely a good upgrade. 100%. The ethereal item could also be upgraded, and I imagine this one's probably going to upgrade very well as well. So again, a Lemico and a Perfect Diamond, and we're going to go from the Blackthorn's Face Death Mask, 419 defense, 45 strength, level 41, to the Blackhorn's Face Demon Head Mask, 704 defense, pretty nice, 92 strength, and level 62. That's actually a really nice helmet that you could throw on a mercenary. If you didn't specifically need the like lifesteal effect that you usually have on a lot of stuff, that could be a really nice temporary piece until you get your hands on something like an Andariel's Visage. It's not bad. Well, there's really not a lot more to go over with this particular item. It is a simple item. It doesn't have like Crushing Blow or like Open Wounds or Deadly Strike or any like kind of like crazy effects like that, but it does have some effects which make it pretty useful. On many occasions, on many of my videos, you'll see me with a Blackhorn's face just sitting in my stash. And the reason is because when I come across those situations where I would like to have some lightning absorption, it's a very cheap and very effective item to get that lightning absorption. In fact, my Conviction Paladin actually ran a Blackhorn's face permanently. What I did was I actually had built him to be the super tank. You know, he had all of those resistances at 95%, and he also used 3 items to gain absorption. He was using a Dwarf Star, he was using a Raven Frost, and then he was also using Blackhorn's face, so that he had lightning, fire, and cold absorption, and that way he was able to absorb every single element, and pretty much he was nigh unkillable. He had 50% physical damage reduction. He had absorption in all 3 elements, 95% resistances, and quite honestly, he hit like a freaking Mack truck in single target because he was using a very nice single target weapon. And that's kind of the very interesting thing that you can do with items like this. Now, of course, instead of Blackhorn's face, I could have used T-Gods as my belt, but I would have lost a pretty hefty chunk of my physical damage reduction, which was not what I wanted. It all comes down to balancing things out and making sure your character is either A, tanky enough to kill who he needs to kill, and B, does enough damage to kill who he needs to kill. This particular character that I built, he was tanky enough to literally take on anything. He could stand there in the middle of the Ubers for pretty much forever and not take any damage. And he also could kill anything that he came across, which was definitely very fun. Anyway, as always, I do hope that you enjoy these videos, and thanks for watching, and keep watching.